welcome to day 19 of the CRaFTi Advent series. I can't believe I managed to keep up with it for so long. Anyway, today's card is kind of a quick one. The footage is actually slower than I have been putting it on these videos just because it was kind of a quick technique. I was using a magazine freebie, but any stamps you've got will work. And I've called it a partial oxidation because I'm using Spiced Marmalade and Fossilized Amber Distressed Oxide inks to stamp this starfish all over my background. And then later on, I'm going to apply a wet medium over part of it, and you'll get that oxidized look that the Oxide inks give. You know, they give that kind of white chalky finish if you spray them with water. We will get that look just on part of the card, hence why I called it partial oxidation. It's probably not really that noticeable, but in real life I think it is a cool technique. It looks really nice. So when you're creating a background like this, I always like to kind of rotate my stamp. I know it's a starfish, so it's a star really, so you know it doesn't really matter, but because it's been hand drawn, all of the legs of the starfish are slightly different, so rotating it just like 1 or 2 points each time you stamp it, it just gives like a more cohesive look to the card. It kind of looks more like it was a pattern paper rather than you just stamping it. And then obviously I'm switching between the two different colours. Just stamp a few in one colour and then fill in a few with the other colour, so you're not keep on changing the ink colour every single time you're stamping. And then I'm going to dry it, because Oxide inks are a hybrid between like dye and pigment inks, so they do take a long time to dry, and I'm always really messy and I end up smudging them, so I just want to make sure it's really nice and dry before I do the next part. So, oh yeah, and definitely because I'm die cutting it, if your oxides are still wet when you're die cutting, you will kind of get an impression on your top cutting plate. The ink will kind of transfer onto it. It's not that big of a deal because you can just wipe it off with a baby wipe, but just drying it first will stop you having to deal with that. So, and then I'm just going to die cut this panel and another rectangle, which I already checked that the sentiment I want to use will fit inside of it nicely. These are both MFT dies. The big one was from Blueprints 13, but I don't think they make it anymore, and the small one is just from their original set of layering stitched hexagons. But I mean any stitch dies you like using will be perfect. Then I want this like circular element on my card, so I'm going to be using the Spiced Ginger Nuvo Aquaflow pen, which was from the original release of them, and I want to get a circular element. This is the partial oxidation part, so I just drew round a scrap die cut I had of a circle to get that circular shape, and then I filled in the centre. And you want to make sure your Aquaflow is nice and juicy when you do this, because it's the moisture from that's going to give us the partial oxidation look. You can kind of see it here. You can see it in the photos at the end, I think, so it is a neat look. I'd forgotten actually, until I was picking videos, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I did this technique, and then I just splattered on some water just then, because that will kind of do that ghosting technique or faux bleaching technique where it like picks up the colour where the droplets hit it. I wanted a little bit more of that splattery look, so I was using the Nuvo Aquaflow Glitter Gloss pen, or equally the Midas Touch would work well. They didn't have that one then, but the Midas Touch would work really well for that too. Just literally just flicking it on just to give some extra dots across that circle, because it kind of bleaches it as well, and just extra dots in the background as well. So I've picked my sentiment, which was off that magazine freebie, but you know, any stamp sets you've got will be cool for this technique. I mean, it doesn't have to be seaside themed either. You could even do it with like present stamps and do a Christmas card. That would look really nice. I think it said hope your day goes swimmingly, that sentiment, but I can't remember exactly. And then I'm just using some bright gold detail embossing powder from Cosmic Shimmer. And if you get any excess particles where you don't want them, you just use an old dry paintbrush. I keep one specifically for doing that, but you can just use whatever paintbrush you normally use, just make sure it's dry. And then just heat that. I think the gold just goes nicely with the yellow and orange colour tones. Then I'm going to get my card blank ready. I've said this in multiples of the videos so far, that I just chop it to slightly bigger than my favourite size of rectangle, which is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. Then I'm just going to stick that on. And then I'll finish off the embellishments of the card. So I wanted to do another one of these thread nests. You saw me do one the other day in a GoPress video, and I made a right mess out of it. I think did I get in a tangle on this one as well? Yeah, I did, bit of a tangle, and then I had to redo it again. It's because sometimes the thread doesn't want to go the way you want it to. It's really annoying. But anyway, sorted it out in the end. It's just something extra to go behind it and emphasise that circular element of the circle that we drew with the Aquaflow. And then sticking that down with foam pads and glue will help hold that thread in place nicely as well. Oh, it says wishing you a beautiful day, not hope your day goes swimmingly. And then I'm just using some little gold sequins just to accent the card. Wow, I made a mess with them. I really like those little ones that are a circle with a star punched out the middle. And I'm just going to use some, I think they're 8mm gold cup sequins as well. Just scattering them around. And the gold is tying in with the gold heat embossing, otherwise we didn't have any other gold on the card. So I tend to do that a lot. Just use my embellishments to tie in whatever colour I haven't got much of on my card as well. It just makes everything like gel together better. And I like to add them in odd numbers too, so I've used 3 big sequins and then 5 of those small little circles as well. And I decided I wanted something else within the cluster, so I'm using some pre-made Nuvo crystal drops as well. I think that colour's Ripened Pumpkin. And then I'm just dotting a few of them in there. Probably going to use 5. Yep, I've used 5. I put one in the centre of one of the big sequins too. I like doing that as well. You can either do that directly when they're wet, or you can use the pre-made ones like that too. And then I felt like the orange circle was too solid, so I've come back in with my white gel pen, which is just one of those Uniball Signo broad ones. I just got mine on Amazon. I'm just adding in some random stitching. I went all the way around the edge first, but then I decided because of the thread nest I wanted a kind of more messy, random scribbly kind of look, so I'm just going off the circle a little bit and adding some extra stitch detail. And I think that's it for the card. Yep. So you can kind of see that partial oxidation in the up-close photos. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the technique and maybe it inspired you to create something similar. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye!